Okay, let's take a look at some absolute value solved problems here, and let's try this first one here. The first thing I know I need to do is isolate the expression that has the absolute value. So to get rid of this -7, I'm going to add 7 to both sides. Okay, so I'm going to leave this all by itself. And if I add 7, a -90 plus 7 should give me a -83 if my math is right. Now I want to get rid of that minus sign, so I'm going to divide by -1. So I'm going to get a 2 minus 9b, and now I finally isolated the absolute value expression. And if this is a -83 divided by -1, that'll make it a +83, which is good, because if I had an absolute value that was equal to a negative, there would be no solution for that, because the only thing that can come out of here is a positive. Okay, so that's a good start. Now, remember what we do with this. I set this equal to two things. 2 minus 9b equals the solution as is. And I also set up a second one. 2 minus 9b equals the opposite of that number there. Because if this turns out negative, this will flip it. So I'm going to flip that side, or at least change the sign. That's what I mean by flip it. Now I solve. Okay, so minus 9b, I'm going to subtract 2. When I subtract 2 from both sides, I get 81, and the division comes out quite nicely. Divide by -9, 81 divided by -9 is -9, because -9 times -9 is 81. Okay, over here, in similar fashion, I'm going to get -9b. This time I'm going to subtract 2, and I'll get -85. This time the division doesn't come out so well. I get a minus divided by minus, which is a plus, but it's going to be 85 divided by 9. That'll be my answer for this solution. So I get two solutions, b equals -9 and b equals 85 over 9. That's how that works. Okay, next problem here. Let's take a look at this one. All right, similar thing, but this time I'm going to get rid of that -7. I'm going to try to isolate this piece here. So if I add 7 on both sides, add 7, I'm going to get those two to go away, and I'll be left with my v over 3 within the absolute value sign. A -5 plus 7 gives me a +2. Okay, and so now I can set this equal. I'm going to get v over 3 equals 2. Set up one equation unchanged, assuming the expression in here comes out positive, then it would be equal to +2. If the expression in here came out negative, then it would be equal to a -2. Okay, so now I'll solve both equations. V equals 2 times 3 is just 6. There's one solution. Okay, v over 3 equals -2. If I multiply both sides by 3, I get a -6 here. Let's plug these back in and check in our original equation. Okay, it was 6 and -6. Okay, if I plug in, let's get rid of this. Okay, if I were to plug in a 6 here, 6 divided by 3 is 2. Absolute value of 2 is 2. -7 plus 2 gives me a -5. -5 equals -5. It works. So this solution down here worked. All right, now if I plug in a -6, let's see what happens. -6 divided by 3 is a -2. Absolute value of -2 is still 2. So -7 plus 2 still gives me a -5, and it works. So this one also works. These two solutions are legitimate. That's how that works. Okay, let's go on and look at some absolute value graphing functions here. All right, now notice here, we should remember that our vertex form looks like this. A times x minus h plus k. Okay, looks to me like h, it's looking for a minus, and I've got a minus, so it looks like h is 2. It looks like k, remember it's looking for a plus, and we got a negative, so k is a -4. That's my vertex, 2 and -4. It looks like it's right there. Over 2, down 4, there's my vertex. The a value here is just 1, right? Even though it's not written, you see a 1 there, so this should be a slope that goes up. If it was negative, it'd go down like this. It's going to go up. And so now I can verify that by plotting some key points here. Which points did I say to plot in class? Pick everything around the vertex. Start with a vertex, okay, and then go to the left and right. So to the left would be 1 and 0. To the right would be 3 and 4. Okay, so let's see what we get. At 2, 2 minus 2 is 0. Absolute value of 0 is 0. 0 minus 4 is a -4. Well, that makes sense. 2 minus 4. There's my vertex. That one was easy. Plug in a 1 now. 1 minus 2 is -1. absolute value of minus 1 is 1. 1 minus 4 is minus 3. So at 1, we should get minus 3. Well, it looks like that's going to be a slope of 1, or negative 1 rather. Okay, so that looks good. Plug in a 0. 0 minus 2 is minus 2. Absolute value of minus 2 is 2. 2 minus 4 is minus 2. So 0 should be minus 2. Look at that. Looks like a good line. If that's my vertex, it's probably just going to keep going up like this, right? Something like that. Okay, now let's look at the 3. 3 minus 2 is 1. 1 minus 4 is minus 3. So at 3 it should be minus 3. That's right there. Oh, looks like it's going to go up that way. Makes sense. Okay, so now my last point was at 4. 4 minus 2 is 2. 2 minus 4 is minus 2. So at 4, x equals 4 minus 2, it looks like that. In fact, it's going to be what it does, just like that. Okay, so as you graph, notice the slope, or this a was 1, so it opens up 1. If a was greater than 1, it'd be a steep or a sharper point like this, right? If it was 5, it'd be really sharp. If it was 2 or 3, it'd be like that. If it was less than 1, but still positive, it'd be wider like this. Okay, so hope we understand the significance of a, even though a is 1 here, right? Different problem here. Let's take a look at this one. This time I've got h equals, remember it's looking for a negative, and I've got a positive, so that means h is negative 3, right? Minus a minus 3 would give me a plus 3. I've got a plus 3. It's assuming a negative. So when I get a plus in there, h is actually minus 3. Got to be careful with that. K, it's looking for a plus here. Therefore, when I have a minus, it's minus 2. So my vertex is minus 3, minus 2. X is minus, oops, see, just made a mistake. X is minus 3, and then y value of that vertex is minus 2. So there's my vertex right there. Okay, maybe we should ignore that point for now too. Okay, so here we go. All right, I know that's my vertex. Now I can just plot points and be careful. Know it's going to be steep and up, so 3 will probably be something like this if everything's right. So if x is minus 3, I'm going to try that first, and then I'll try a minus 2 and a minus 1. I'll also try on the other side a minus 4 and a minus 5, and I'll get myself 5 points around the vertex to verify that I think it goes like this. Okay, let's try that. Minus 3 plus 3 is 0, so 0 minus 2, there you go. We got our vertex. Minus 3 minus 2 looks good. At minus 2, plug in a minus 2 here. Minus 2 plus 3 is a 1. Absolute value of 1 is 1. 1 times 3 is 3. 3 minus 2 is 1. So at minus 2, it'd be 1. Okay, is that right? Minus 2, 1. 3 minus 2 is 1. Looks good, okay? Thought it'd be steeper than that. Okay, let's keep trying. Okay, minus, if I plug in the minus 1, all right, when I plug in a minus 1 plus 3, it should give me a 2. Absolute value of 2 is 2. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 minus 2 is 4. So at minus 1, it should be 4. Way up here. Okay, I just realized what I did. I misplotted this point. That point should actually be there. Minus 2 and a 1. My math was correct. I just plotted that point wrong. Okay, so yeah, I do make mistakes, but hopefully you saw that. So it looks like this is going to go up at a slope of 3, just like we suspected, right like that. Okay, nice steep slope because this a value is 3. Remember the a value is out in front. So there we go. At minus 4, a minus 4 plus 3 is a minus 1, but the absolute value of minus 1 is 1, so 1 times 3 is 3. 3 minus 2 is 1, so at minus 4 we get a 1, just like this point. So you can see it's symmetrical about this line right here. Okay, that's not my graph, that's just a line. Okay, so let's just undo that. Okay, there's my point at minus 5. If I put a minus 5 in here, minus 5 plus 3, okay, would be a minus 2, but a minus 2 absolute value of it is 2, so 2 times 3 is 6, 6 minus 2 is 4. So at minus 5, I get a 4 as well. It's way up there, and you can clearly see this graph does work out to be symmetrical. Even if my lines aren't straight, you see that sharp A is 3, H is minus 3, K is minus 2, and there's your graph. Hope that makes sense.